Okay. Okay. We'll do a little bit of a different warm-up and just start with the feet and then work the way up, and then we'll do something else. So just start with the feet like this. Just coming up onto the. So quite similar to this kind of shape, I think, but without the bouncing. Just coming out. Feel the length of the body, and then just drop it down into the heels. And stretching out. Take a few deep breaths as you do it as well. Just kind of breathe in, reaching straight up into the toes, and just let it drop down. And then do the same thing, just going to rock back onto the heels, picking up the toes. So come up, rock back, pick up the heels. Rock back, pick up the heels. Good. And then just picking up the big toe. You're going to press the rest of the toes into the ground. Just pick up the big toe. Pull, pull, pull up. And then press the big toe into the ground. Pull the rest of the toes up. And then just keep alternating between the two. Pull the big toe up. Press the big toe, pull the toes up. Feel the shins, everything activate. And then nice and carefully just working the outside of the feet. You can do both at a time, or you can just do one at a time. You might find it easy if you've got problems with the knees, just sink one foot into the ground and just work one side. If you're okay with the knees, just feel free to work both at the same time. And then just keeping one foot down, just working the ankle nice and loose. And then just bending the toes over gently, just pressing down, very gently, stretching the front of the ankle. And then just off the ground, yeah, circling the foot in both ways. And just gently kind of flick it out with the foot. And then just changing sides, making the ankle. In both directions. Pulling the toes over very gently. And off the ground, just circling. Both ways. And then just flicking it out. Feet together, nice and gently, just come into back and forward, straightening and bending. Kind of flexible, you can come down a bit deeper. Just hold it at the back. Stretch the knees, really straighten them back. Weight in the heels. You can also point the toes up as well. Really press through the heels. Stretch through the back of the knee. Release it. And just hold it as much as you can forward. Just sit into it. No bounce. And then very gently, working the knees. Rolling. Don't do too big circles. You don't want to come out outside of the base. The knee. And both directions. You still have the hands on the knees, so you just feel what's going on underneath. Back again. Straight and straight, straight in. The toes. It's nice and loose. Like in the ground, just swinging your. You're working the knee, bring the leg back, and then out. And then just start to straighten the leg fully. Swing it through, so feel that your glutes kind of tighten back, and just swing it through. You can feel pretty flexible, you can get it quite high. Fully to the back, fully up. Try and keep the core engaged. Straight leg, straight as you can, kind of pressing through the heel. Then move that to the side. Again, straight leg. Push through it. Really feel. You can also do this here. You can do this kind of flexibly. Just raise it up. Then you can also raise it and kind of squeeze it. Raise, tighten, back. Raise, tighten, back. Raise, tighten, back. Raise, tighten, back. And then go as far as you can with it, and just kind of pulse it. So you're going to kind of pulse the leg a little bit. You normally do like 40 or 50, these kind of positions. All the ground steps are good. Let's let it down. You go to the other side, so just start nice and loose. Bending the knee, putting the leg out.
Okay.
Back, forward, back, forward. To the side. Again, straighten the leg, down. Straighten it out. Well, that's why I just called it, pulse it a little bit. Put the leg again, so I'm going to raise it up this time. Raise it up, kick it out, and then bring it down. Actually, we do this like this. It's a bit easier. Come with the foot like this. So like doing a front kick. Just raise it out, nice and tight, and then it's if you're kind of extending through the toe. This, and then bring it back down. You can kind of stretch the toes. You really want to kind of stretch the front line of the leg, kind of pushing through the toes here. Draw it up. Yeah, and then press it out. You feel this whole part of the leg really kind of active in it. It's as if you're kind of reaching out with the toe. So you kind of raise it up, and then it's like I kind of reach out with it. Just do 10 on each side. 8 or 10 on each side. Bring it up, press it out. Also use the breath as you do it. So you can use the breath out as you do. It'll also help kind of stabilize the core as you do it. Up, and then down. Fully up. Yeah, you do it. And shake the leg out, go to the other side. Raise it up. Stretch it out. Raise it up. Stretch it out. So you can get to the shot. And just notice there's a difference between the right leg and the left leg. Yeah, I'm really used to kicking on the right leg, so the left leg's a bit weaker. Just shaking the legs out. A little bit wider, just working the legs this way. Nice and wide. Start to pick the toes up on one side. Nice and light again. Don't hold it. Stretching. And so you can also use the weight of the body. If you can get a bit lower, it's also good. Depending on your flexibility in the leg. Use the weight of the body a bit. Press through. Pull your legs a little bit. Pull, press a little bit back into the knees. Using the hands in the front. Get back. Get the hips to come down. You don't need to do the hands, you can put them on the chest, or you can use them coming into the ground. What I want to do is raise up and then drop down. Raise up, drop down. If you need to use the hands as you come down. The key thing is starting to kind of activate the hips now, so get the hips to be quite flexible. And the upper body is going to kind of act as one unit. Again, just about 8 or 10. Looking down, go stretch through the back of the knees. Bring the chest as far as you can into the ground. Use the breath again as you do it. Okay, last one, just come all the way down. Take the hands to the legs, both hands on one leg. One hand on each leg. Take a nice few deep breaths in, out. Okay, and then just start to go with the hands. You're going to go to one leg, change to the other. One leg. Make the movement with the hips again. So you're going to kind of do this. The torso is going to kind of roll. Right. You need to use the hands in the ground. Just about changing the body one side to the other. And then back into the middle. Just stretch the body down. It's as if you're kind of drawing the forearms into the ground. It's as if you kind of press the forearms down into the elbows. Just hold it. Hands forward a little bit. Start to lengthen through the spine, pull the hips back. It's really as if you're pulling the hips and the hands apart. So the hands are in the ground, fingertips. Pull the hips back, let the spine lengthen. Just lengthen the body. And let it out. Hand forward so that it's kind of level with the shoulder and the chest. And then you're just going to raise the hand up, stretch legs up, open the body out. And then just alternate each side, so pressing it down. Putting one side, go to the other. Open the spine, the chest, everything up. There's two more on the side. And just keep your hands down as they are. Just start to walk the feet towards each other. Fall. Press the hands into the ground, bend the knees. Let the head drop into the hand. Start to Straighten the legs. Hands start to pull out of the ground, onto the toes, and then just trace the arms up the body, up the legs. So all the way up the shin, keep the legs straight and pull up through the upper body. Let the hands come up, pass onto the shins, onto the knees. And then as you come up, they'll just kind of go around onto the side of the thigh. Come back up there. Okay. And when you're back up, just in the hips, nice big circles. The hips flexible. You pass the movement from one hip to the other. Okay. Just with the elbows, you're going to kind of twist 1, 2, and then 3. Just hold it. 3 seconds. Release. 1, 2, and then just twist a little bit further. Hold it. 3, 4 seconds, and then release it. 2, 3. And again. 1, 2, 3. Pay attention to the knees as well. You don't want to kind of twist out them. Let the body sink down. Let everything fall over the spine, the head looks behind you. It's then just with the hands out, so you're going to kind of turn to the back, rotate and extend the hands out. So now with a sense of kind of widening the shoulders. But again, do the same thing. You're going to go 1, 2, 3. Let the whole body come into extension. And release it. 1, 2, 3. Expand, expand, expand. Release it. To each side. So use the breath as you do it. Let the hands be loose. And just play with the arms. You can do them kind of shoulder level. You can do them at hip level. Let the arms relax. You do it. Just kind of loosen the shoulders. So just really feel that the shoulders can relax. If you feel kind of tense in one side, you can also just work that side. You get the sense that the shoulder's going to open fully. You do it at the same time. Here, just bring the hands down, reach them up, so you keep your arms straight, up, 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 up. Then with the thumbs, roll them over, and reach to the back. So you're going to lead the movement with the thumbs. Yeah, get to this position, and then reverse it back. So you're going to kind of roll the shoulders over, reach up, draw down. So fully up, stretch them up to the hand, to the top of the head. Stretch up a little bit more, and then roll them out, open the shoulders out, and then back. And all the way up, full range of motion. Just going against the shoulder. You just want to work now like a figure of 8 motion. So really trying to flex the forearm, the wrist. Keep the structure quite strong in the arm. You imagine like when we do kind of henko, all these kind of movements. So the arms are kind of flexibly do it. but also fully extended, heavy. Let the movement to the back a little bit. So you tend to get this quite front forward, let the arm come to the back. So stretch the hands out as if you're kind of pushing two walls. Yeah, and then you're just going to rotate the shoulder. So the hands are kind of open, extended, and you kind of screw with the hand. But the shoulder. So fully forward and then release it to your back. Screw through the whole joint. Let all the movement come from the shoulder. The hands are just going to follow it. Pull it to the back. Use the breath as you do it. Okay, keeping the shoulders as they are, just let them sink down. Just working the hands, like kind of windscreen wipers. Working the elbow, forearm, let everything be mobile. Keep the shoulders dropped down. Let the hands kind of wipe across the face. In both directions. A bit trickier doing this way. And then just press the palms down. You're going to go like this. Okay, you're going to press the palms. Yeah, and then you're going to curl the hand like this. You do this motion with the hand, it's like making a hook like this, and then point it towards your own forearm. So stretch out. There's two stretchings. You press out as if you're pressing through the palm, and then coil into this kind of hook or like an eagle claw, and you point your own forearm, and then back out, press out. That, press out, that, and then you're going to do the opposite. So you're going to have the fingers pointing down this way. You're going to make the kind of claw and then point it towards your own forearm. Keep the shoulders, everything relaxed. Press out. Hopefully you feel the forearms kind of activated. Working the hands, let them drop. Let them work back as well. Open down through the knees. Open the shoulders, the chest. And then just work on the arms being fluid, flexible, but also heavy. You should have a kind of heavy quality. Bring the hands a bit higher. Focus into the elbow now, so kind of come up. As if the elbow's getting dragged in. One side and the other. The arm's going to kind of roll down the body this way. And really just feel, even though it's quite a dynamic movement, try and feel where the movement actually is coming from. Because I can do this by kind of fixing the body and raising the arm. Or I can do it with a fin like the lower body. The arm's like attached to the lower back. And there's a fin like the lower back swings the arm out and draws it down. So just start to feel where the arm is actually attached to, rather than see it as an arm separate from the body. Try and feel where the arm is really connecting into. Try and feel where you actually raise the arm from. Okay, good. And then we just go to the head. So just stretching up. Use the whole body as you do it. Drawing down. Stretching, looking up. Arch the back a little bit as well. Coming down. Stretching up. Down. And just looking over to the left side. And then go right. And then left. And then right. Over to one side. It's like you put the ear to the shoulder. And the other side. And then the same, just using the hand very, very gently, not pulling down, just using the weight of the arm. It's a little bit more to the front now, so it's like you're coming into the front diagonal this way. Both hands on the back of the head. Press a little bit more, just on the top of the head. And with that slight resistance, just pull the head up, 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 up. And then you're going to stretch the head back, so as if you're pushing the head back into the hands, or really pushing the head back into the hands. Like you're in a car and the headrest, you're going to kind of press into the headrest, press into the hands in this case. Release it. Then you're going to do the same to the front, so slightly push the head back. The first, just feel that the hands can really push the head back, so allow the head to kind of come back a little bit, and then feel that you're going to kind of activate the neck, all these neck muscles. Let's do these, and then press back against the hands. You've got these two things happening, pushing back the head and pushing into the hands. Create length, and again, feel where the head's actually attached to, which is the spine and the lower back. Try and feel that whole part of the body activate. And release. And just working the head. Loose. Take a reverse. Start to pass the movement down to the shoulders. Everything's going to start to go. And start to bring the arms into it. Attach the arms into the movement. Start to do the movement with the chest as well. So this whole area. Feel that you can roll it, make it mobile, fluid, that you kind of lubricate the whole body. Start to pass it down to the hips. Relaxing into the ground. And then just start to play with the movement a little bit. So open it out, start to press the hands out. All different kind of movements. The spine kind of wave, mobilize everything. That's it. Again, look for kind of flexibility, which is, you want to kind of balance. You want something that's not so loose, but not so stiff. You want something that's heavy, relaxed, fluid, flexible, but also with a good sense of structure. So I want to feel like the whole structure is behind the hand. Use the breath a little bit. You have a different image, like kind of moving a ball around. You do different things with it. Just have a sense that you're kind of mobilizing something else. We can think about sword work. This is also a useful thing to think about the hands kind of holding something and moving something. It's what we do with the sword. So just play a little bit. And depending if you're like a taijutsu person or a weapons person, you can also think about the taijutsu, kind of opening it out. I'm more of a weapons person, so I tend to think about it than anything else. Makes it a bit easier to find the movement. But some of you prefer the Jo, and some of you prefer the taijutsu. So just feel which one the body wants to kind of go towards, and explore it a little bit. Start to feel that you can move the feet, stepping, pressing. Feel all the time a sense of heaviness through the upper body. So you've got this kind of heaviness. You want to now move it around the space. So move with a sense of really, again, flexibility, but heaviness, ultimately. I want to feel like I'm kind of translating the weight of the structure through the periphery and really using the weight to sink the body down. Feel those two things go together, so the reaching the feeling down or sinking the feeling down and the extension out of the hand. Feel that those are part of the same thing. They're part of an expansion. So just kind of get a balance between the extension out and the feeling sinking down. You start to explore a little bit bigger movements. Just move around the space a little bit more. A little bit different Kokyu movements. Explore the structure. That's it. Good. I used to do this all the time with the kids, but if you can imagine like you've got a ball in your hands or another object, imagine you want to kind of move around the space, but keep it away from someone else. So imagine there's like 2, 3 small little children surrounding you, and they're trying to get the ball quite desperately. Now I need to keep my awareness out again. So what we tend to do is like, I've got my ball, and like it, but really feel that you're using the kind of full awareness, like you've got something, and I want to move around the space with it. And I'm trying to really keep it from them. So this is linked to the center line work, what we do with the sword as well. But just think about a bit of a wider awareness as you do it. Just start to think about revolving now, moving around. Yeah. Try and see what's going on in the room. Probably start to get distracted by objects, but it's also part of the training. Distractions are really a great tool. Just kind of go into rotations a bit more. That's it. Very nice. And just notice one thing is if the body's kind of going forward a lot, so if you kind of get stuck in the forwards, start to really include, we've done a lot of the down, but think about the extension. There's two ways you can think about this kind of extension grounding work. Think of it like part of the same system. So the same system that allows the extension up through the spine is the same one that allows to ground. So doing one and not the other, it's a case that they were actually working together. So feel that that extension, the lengthen through the body, works by also the grounding down. And think the extension out, the reaching out, comes from a really an awareness of the back. So the more I can balance that, the back of the body, or the feeling in the back, the more I can get the extension to feel like it's really grounded in something. So really go now, like really feel that the back is included in the movement, which just means bringing your awareness to the back. And again, like we did with the arms, try and really feel where the arms are actually coming from, or where they're actually attached to, which is the whole structure of the back of the body. And just feel if you can now access it. So start to go a little bit into this kind of open cocky movement, so it's like this. And really feel this kind of expansion through the arms. This is actually rooted in the back. Again, the back and the ground. Just come through this. And really get a sense of width and a kind of focusing out. So it's really got something attached to the back of the body. I'm going to activate the whole spine. Good. No. No. Good. Good. Nice. It's really interesting. When I started Aikido, I came from kickboxing, so I was really used to having the hands like this and protecting the head. And it took a long time to like lose that because Aikido offers something else, which is like to be open, actually accepting. And if I'm taking this kind of position, Aikido is almost impossible to do from these kind of positions. Possible, but it's actually putting me in a position where I'm already defensive. So I needed a way to drop it. So what I want to explore now, Aikido people tend to be really open people. So we tend to be quite open, relaxed anyway. So the problem is we train Aikido a lot and it makes us more open. So it makes us more kind of, So try and think about it as well. It's really like the sword work that I'm still protecting the center line of the body. So with the hands, even though I'm open, extended and expanded, I'm really thinking about my center line. So kickboxing is like it really obviously I'm protecting the center line of the body. And I'm doing it in a way where I can really close the body down. Now Aikido does the same thing. You can also play with this kind of stance as well. Or like a boxing stance if you use the boxing, or karate, or any of these kind of things where you come from a kind of fighting stance. Now, if I've got a fighting stance, totally great for those arts, totally fine for kickboxing, totally great for karate. Just try and find that you get something else, which is an Aikido, which is something a bit more relaxed and it's a bit more open. But still keep that sense that I'm actually protecting the center line. So when you come with the hands, this kind of way, really feel that even though I'm open, I'm not open, totally open. So I'm not kind of diluted. So it's got the same kind of feeling. But just explored a little bit. It's quite, it feels quite unnerving in a way because I drop my guard a lot of the time with Aikido. And if I'm used to an art which is taking a position or taking a fighting stance, it's feels quite different. And it is, that's the point. It's totally different. So just feel that you can get something kind of mix between the two. I don't want to be totally passive and open, and I don't want to be totally aggressive. Something that's like receptive, open. You're welcoming the person in, but you're welcoming them in on your own terms. So you protect yourself as you do it. There we go. I think the best analogy for this is like a handshake. So you give a handshake, you give it in an open way, open hand, an open mind. So there's a kind of openness to it. But I don't totally open out everything to them. So I don't give away everything in the handshake. So the handshakes are quite a good way to kind of think about it. It's like I'm open to the other person, but I'm not giving everything away to them. Where like if I do a hug, I give everything away. So try and get a sense it's a bit like a kind of handshake. It's got this kind of quality. That same kind of mindset you would do where I'm kind of open to the thing, but I'm not going to give everything. Just that. And we talk about this in Aikido a lot when we say like offer the hand. So you offer the hand in tiny henko. Offer the hand. Or you come into kama. So it's a kind of offering position. It's a lot like a handshake. There. Okay. Great. Wow. Okay, great. Take a bokken. Okay, and just going to the same idea, just moving with the bokken, but just get a sense you're going to kind of go into kamai first. So just find the kamai, and then just nice and slowly, just start to walk around with it. Very easy. Just move through the space. And again, keep this sense of kind of openness. So I want this sense of openness. Now, the moment I feel like I'm either disconnected from the sword or I'm going to kind of tightness, drop it. Just drop it all. Come back down. Give yourself some time. Take a deep breath. And then come back into the kamai. And just feel you can all the time come into this kind of open, expanded. But I'm also still protecting the center line. So that's the key with this. You really need to like strike a balance between something that's really aggressive, frontal, and something that's kind of totally passive. It's always something kind of in between. And then just move around the space. And just as long as you can keep that feeling, keep the command. And when you feel it kind of drop, just let it go. That's it. That's it. The good thing about all these online stuff and solo work in general is you can really allow yourself to once you feel you've lost the connection, I've lost the thing that I'm working on, just take a moment, stop, collect yourself. You can also watch other people move and all this kind of stuff, and then come back into it. Now the dojo is a really great place, or the normal dojo with lots of people in, lots of activity, we get carried by other people. Now that's great, but it also means that I give away a part of my kind of autonomy, which goes, I'm training beyond my point, or I'm training beyond my concentration. So these classes are actually great, and solo training is perfect for it, because I've got to provide my own motivation. And motivation just kind of comes and goes. So just let it go. No, it's gone. And the ability to recognize that it's gone is the most important thing in this kind of training, because I need to know when I'm training outside of my concentration and outside of my kind of fullest that I want to train. So just get a sense for when it goes. And it's not bad or good, it's just that it's gone. I've stopped working, so I stop. And then gather yourself, collect it up, try and, that's what I'm working on, and then go back into it. But I've got to do that all myself, so that's the whole part. Bit more flexible, bit bigger movements, bit more challenging, working with the rotations. And just feel that you're in a space with like maybe 2-3 children, and just have the sense that you're kind of not threatening, but you don't want them to come further. So, like Bernie. He's got someone coming in the room, and you want to go like, So it's not like an angry, it's not like an aggressive, like, no, it's like okay, think about it. So it's got this kind of quality, you want the person to think twice. So you don't want them to go like, oh shit, and you don't want them to go just kind of walk in through you. So you want this quality where it's like, this kind of calm, not aggressive, but it's quite threatening, which is a kind of hard thing to kind of get. So you just want to be like, no. And you're going to do this, but what you will naturally find is if I get into that state, that position, I won't want to move. So it's a feeling of like, this is my space, this is my place, this is where I am. I don't want to go anywhere, and you're not coming into the space. So have this feeling like, what I naturally find is this: I go in for movement, and when I find that kind of feeling, the body will just go kind of to space, and that's the kamae. That feeling of being open, expansive, but also bang, just there, occupying the space. That's the kamae. So go into that, and then just again, just work in movement, nice and steady. And just come into kamae, come to a stop. Trying if you can allow it to be natural. This is also a big is making the kind of feeling natural. That's it. Okay, great. Got it. Got it. Okay, something similar. We're going to use the first suburi now. So just walk around with the sword kind of down. So it's kind of totally at the side. You could use it in any hand. Just kind of move around with the sword a little bit. Keep a kind of general sword grip, but nothing kind of focused. Quite relaxed, open. And again, just feel that you can kind of draw into the kamae. Find it. If I find that it's like done 90%, go into the first suburi. Just make one cut, nice and focused, and then release it again. You're going to go from this kind of relaxed, just moving around the space. You're going to feel the whole body. Again, feel the weight. And then when you feel like it, connect to something, find the kamae. 90%, okay. Go to the back. You don't feel comfortable in the kamae, just drop it. Again, and just go somewhere else. I'm not really, or I'm connected in the front, but I've not got the back. Drop it. Go somewhere else. So you should feel totally like confident in the kamae. Shouldn't be any kind of doubt in it. That. And then cut.
Michael?
Yeah.
During this kamae position and during the walk, do you actually actively engage your core in this as well? So continuously?
Yeah, in a way, I'm thinking that I'm going to come straight into kamae straight away, or I'm thinking it's not like it's a good question. It's a bit like the extension work. So I don't want to be kind of. and then I've got to do a lot of work to like get the sort of. So I want to be. I go like it's like semi-active. So I'm like relaxed, natural, but I have the feeling at any point that I can just come into it, and that needs it's like a baseline of like engagement in the core. So there needs to be something in the core which is like switched on, but it's not fully. So it's like the core's totally active, but it's not kind of passing to the limbs or something. It's something like that. So it's something like the core's like totally engaged in it, and then it goes like and then it spreads to the rest of the body. It's something like that. But I don't want to like disengage the core of the body, which will be like that. And this just feels like loose there. And then to get to the next position, I've got to really like switch on. It's like something like that, if that explains anything.
What I'm trying to do now during the movement is actually engage the core.
I've got to mute, Ben.
This one is better. What I try to do now is engage the back muscles, so these and these while moving. So really exaggerate the tension that's on those to get this feeling of not power and not structure, but a flexible building block, so to speak.
Yeah. I think I think a little bit of like swimming or something like this. And I don't want to be in the water and like disengage the core. I want the core to always be in a sense like not engaged is the wrong. I don't know what the English. I don't even know what the English word is for it. It's like switched on. Huh? So it's switched on. It's plugged in, but it's not like round. It's not. It's like the engine's on in the car. So the engine's running, but it's not switched off. So the engine's on, running, and then run, it's ready to go. So it's got that kind of quality. Yeah, and in terms of you want to just play with it because it's like, it's also something I say a lot of the time. It's like I need to fake it a little bit. Or I need to get that sense where I'm forcing the connection work. So it means I go to the center and kind of do this kind of stuff and really feel that something's engaging. So this kind of stuff of like engaging the core, all the back. Really feel it can come from that. It can come from that movement. So yeah, just play with it.
You have this stationary tension in your muscle tissue that provides stability, but you still have a reserve to actually.
Tako se radi na brendiranju ovog proizvoda u turističke svrhe. Zapravo smo odmah išli s ciljem da se ona vrati u sve kupovišne restauracije, u sve ugostiteljske objekte na području Varaždinskih Toplica, kao jedan autentični suvenir, kao jedna autentična slastica.
Okay. I know it's this kind of thing. It's like that feel. I want it. This is like when we go to extension work, where it becomes quite subtle in a way. But I want the extension work is when that kind of tonus switches on for the whole body. So what I usually do is like I come into Kamain, I'm quite soft, and then to move, I've got to go like something's got to activate. I want the feeling that activation is that. So that kind of feeling of that, and then I can move from it. So yeah, that kind of where the whole body is engaged, and then the movement comes from that. Now we usually do that. This is why Oase works so great. If you work with someone disconnected, because you see the moment they go to think about striking, they activate the body, and then they move. So if you can spot that in yourself, it's really easy to see in everyone else when they do it. So they go into Kamain and they're about to cut and they go, and then they go. So that kind of ability to notice it in me is really crucial for like Oase work. So this is really great for the training because I want to feel like I get there, and then it's all engaged, and then I can just kind of come from that. So that's but that's really kind of subtle work. So it's really a good point to play with as well. So blah blah blah. Okay. Having said that. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to come into the Kamae and just stay in it. So you're going to come into the Kamae, stay in it. Now I want to, a little bit, it's like what Bernie's talking about, is like, I want to feel that that's engaged. This is engaged. Now what I need to do is engage this feeling here with the ground as well. So this kind of all comes together. So disengagement out into the sword with the hands, and the engagement down to the core, to the ground, from the core to the ground. And then what I want to do is when you feel, again, this is totally engaged, you're going to go into this cut, just forward. So there's no kind of drawing to the back this time. You're going to come here, engage, and then cut through. And then just come back all the time now. Forget the neutral stance. Go straight into the kamae. So you're engaged, move around. When you feel the feet really relax, I've got it, pass it forward. And just come out of it. So now in constant kind of engagement with the core. Keep it, keep it. Just try and make it as kind of pure as possible. I want the purest attack, which means the whole body's going to go. Oh! That's it. That's it. Great. Good. That's it. Okay, I come a little bit from kendo as well. So what you see in kendo a lot is like really aggressive. So it's like aggressive, and because it's competition based, most of it competition based. All I'm interested in is hitting the other guy in the head first before he hits me in the head. So it only matters to score a point. So bang, just like this, and I'm not concerned at all about the weight in the end because there's nothing else after it. I just hit him and I score the point, and then the round's over. So I'm sacrificing everything to get the point. Now, the key part in Aikido is that I don't do that sacrifice part. So I commit to the attack, I make a strong attack, but I don't sacrifice everything to get there. So just have a notice when you do this, the body gets pulled out and then kind of pulls back. So just notice this point that I want to really get a sense that I'm kind of stable at the end of it. So fully committed, but really there's something balanced, which gives me the ability to go somewhere else. And that's really critical for Aikido, which is based not on competition, but on a kind of martial encounter. I need to be balanced after it. So I can't sacrifice everything for a kind of point or for a killing blow in this case. I need to really always get the sense that everything stays kind of open. So this is the hard thing to work. I need a fully committed attack, fully committed, very strong, very powerful, but something that's also gives me opportunities next. Something's always going to be next. So the encounter's never finished, basically. Yeah. Oh. Good. Okay, I want to just play with one thing, which is the ski. Now I want to play with a different kind of connection with the hands. So it's less about this, and I just want to play with this. Now you can do either ski, so you can do front foot, or you can do with a step. But just keep the sense you're going to kind of work with this quite flexible. Again, it matches what the feet are doing. So it's not a sense that I'm doing this. This is kind of useless training. It's fun training, but it's kind of useless. So get the sense that what's happening in the center is being matched by the hands and the feet. So just feel that. Again, this kind of soft connection. And then just feel like you can pass it through the ski. You can do front foot, back foot. All the same. Just play with this connection. And again, it's what we did at the beginning with the hands. So this kind of movement. I want to keep a softness, suppleness. Really notice again whether it goes to the front a bit too much. I want to really open the back and down. Flexibly move through the space. And then when you feel it, just come into the ski. There we go. There we go. Good. Okay, last minute, so just play with this connection because this is a really interesting connection, and we use this. It's not actually in the system, but we play with this sometimes in the dojo. If you think about a lot of the striking work we do is either to the head or to the center of the body. But I've also got these two big targets. If you think about someone with a sword, which is the wrists. So these two targets. Now in kendo, we will attack these all the time. So just get the sense that you're going to kind of use this connection. Now we're to do something that's a bit sharper. So I have the feeling of striking down onto the wrist now. So it's got the same motion as the thrust, this, but it's something more impacting. So it's like this, 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 this. And again, it's being done with the center, this, this. And the hands don't kind of travel a lot, it's just there. So it's just a really sharp movement, very, very effective. So we actually have this in the system, but it's a bit kind of hidden. So we do it when we do this movement in the kumitachi. We do it when we do number 3, this, but it's just slightly opening that movement out. Just imagine something sharp, short movement, but it's got a kind of impact. There's a kind of percussive impact, would generally be to the wrist. We also do it when we do this movement, up, up, up. So it's got that kind of quality. That's it. Just a few more and we'll finish. That's it. Good. Okay, great. So this is, I'll explain a little bit. This is like a common theme with a system where you start with very clear, straight lines, big movements, like the first suburi. This, and you spend a long time here. And then you go to like slightly different variations of it, still big movements, but applied somewhere else. And then you apply it to a totally more condensed form. So it becomes much smaller, much sharper. But it's the key thing is that it's built on that foundation of very clear, big movements, which gives me a good opportunity to kind of practice structure. So the first suburi is perfect. This is why we should probably spend like 5 years just doing the first suburi and then move on to something else. Because the more I get that idea that the first suburi is like the foundation for the system, and the other stuff's just interesting stuff like variations on it. So, but that's the kind of key to it. So this is again a good thing about the solo work, that we can really focus on essentials and then build out from it. And all the taijutsu, everything builds from that. So no problem in the end. Okay, we'll bow. はい、どうもありがとうございます。どうもありがとうございました。
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.